Annyeong and welcome to Hallyujuku, starring Brandon Cooper and myself, Petey Rave. This is episode 60, Shotgun Was Robbed. Enjoy! Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to another fine episode of Hallyujuku. I'm Petey Rave. And the exhausted husk of a human being over to my side is none other than Brandon Cooper, aka King Kaz. How you doing, Kaz?
Taking a train and a bus in the cold to a convention and then, showing up in said convention. And I will say this, right? I'm going to make this one point clear. I've never been to that convention area for KatsuiCon. An amazing convention area. Really cool. Would have loved to been there in a better time of year.
I think
it's a shitty time of year to do a convention.
I think you're echoing the sentiments that DJM had about OhioCon. You're basically saying there's convention in the middle of February in the north, either the Midwest or the Northeast. Maybe not the best idea. Maybe. Possibly. But I don't know. That's a debate for another time.
I mean, I'm gonna go again, right? That's kind of.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna go again. Amazing cosplayers. I didn't really convention, I didn't really go to the dealer's room much. I kind of went once or twice, but that was to go.
We're talking about KatsuiCon for those that are wondering.
Yeah. In the DC area up in Washington, in a really lovely kind of shopping town, what I want to call it. It's built of nothing but shops and hotels, and even the convention center itself, which is the Gaylord something or another, you can look it up, which has shops in it. And I don't mean just kind of your standard there's some food places. No, there are legitimate clothing stores and shit in this convention center.
Yeah.
But it's a really beautiful area. I wish, as many pictures as I did take, I wish I took more.
Yeah.
And for somebody like me who's kind of new to the photography thing, I think that's a really great feeling. I wish I had kind of just taken more.
Yeah.
There were so many great places that I know of now that next year, and it was also kind of sad because there was a lot of crackdown on the photographers, and not just, taking pictures in general, but of kind of some of your equipment, which is really sad because, I hang out with a lot of the more professional photographers, so a lot of the guys who are getting paid to do their thing. So it was really kind of hard to do work sometimes. I was assisting a guy doing a Batgirl shoot, and we were kind of just setting up, doing a really cool shoot in a back hallway where no one was, doing this really amazing shoot with this chick who had a awesome fucking Batgirl costume, and we got kicked out of that area because they were like, you can't use that equipment here in this hotel, and we're like, okay. And it's not like we had fucking green screens and all kind of shit set up. I was holding a light and we had a light behind her.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that could be a bummer. But yeah, I think, like you said, it sounded like a fun con, overall.
Yeah, overall a pretty fun con. And like I said, sucked on the photography side of it, but I will definitely go back.
Yeah, because any con worth going, it's worth going twice. That's the rule.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's get into what we always talk about at the beginning of the show, and we talk about what's new. And I think the big thing that was new for the both of us that we were both anticipating, is none other than Amber, with Shake That Brass, off of her debut mini album, Beautiful. Cass, did you shake that brass?
I did listen to Shake That Brass, and I'm gonna kind of have the same sentiments as this article. Not fully, but I liked it, but it wasn't what I expected from Amber. It was a little meh. I will tell you this though, the kind of overall feel that I got from the K-pop fans at the convention was everybody seemed to enjoy it. Everybody seemed to like it. But I will say for me, I wasn't 100% sold on it.
I listened to it. I like it, and I still like it. I'll jam to it, and I'll dance around to it, and it's fun. The problem is that it's and a lot of the sentiments that are in the Asian Junkie Review article, courtesy of the one and only Yellow Slug, who provides a bunch of great reviews on K-pop on a constant basis. Big shout out to Yellow Slug Reviews, where it just sounds like anybody at SM could have made this song. Like, they could have given this to anybody at SM. It's just a standard SM song. But it's a good song, because SM makes good music. Like, it just wasn't exceptional. Amber, being Amber, she owns it and she does it well. She sings well and raps well. She performs a fun routine, and she dances really cool. And the video is fun and energetic, and it has a good visual to it. But I think, and of course it had, like we mentioned before, it had the cavalcade of celebrity guests, including Min, Jackson, June Park with God, Ellen, who I'm gonna say, based on recent Instagram posts, that may be the new second half of my Amber ship. I'm just saying, Amber Ellen might be the new ship. But that's aside. Overall, it's a fun video, but it was not exceptional, and it definitely was not something that was to the level of something that Amber could have provided, considering who she is, what she brings to the table, and her skills. It could have been so much more. Especially if did you get a chance to check out the rest of the mini album?
No, not yet. I haven't checked it out all yet. I've heard, I think, one other song off of it, which I really liked and thought was pretty good. But I haven't checked out the rest of the mini album yet. Been too busy rocking that 4 minute.
4 minute, me too. Me too. Every time I keep trying to link you the album Reddit playlist from the one that is the first one autocomplete when I look up Reddit, that plugin is the 4 minute one. Then I have to re-edit and find the number. But that aside, the rest of the album, on the whole, is actually kind of pretty good. Basically every other song on that mini album is better than Shake That Brass, and a lot more unique. At least a little bit more unique. It has Heights is a really quality song. Even the song that she did with Eric Nam was a cool and unique track. Let me find it. Love Run was a surprise. I Just Wanna with Eric Nam, and that's an interesting track because it's an all English remake of Goodbye Summer from Pink Tape. It's all English and it's just the two of them, and it's all written by Amber. And that one was actually a really cool, different version of that song. So it almost feels like she had to take Shake That Brass as SM's, you need to have this as your title track. It's like SM said.
I feel like this was. I definitely feel like this was a push. This was hey, you need a really high energy song on here, and one we can make a really fun video for. And it was just okay. And it's like, we've had this one laying around for a while. So take this and do this. All right. You know, like, it feels like not a lot of heart was put into this song.
Yeah, like it feels like a song that was like, all right, this is nice, and you have this this other really cool, like, it has a good energy song, and I guess that's okay. You know, you're remaking that song from Pink Tape, that's nice, and I understand that you want to put this really personal song in beautiful, but we kind of need that we're SM, and we need that SM song. Here's the song. You're gonna have to do this one. And also, this is your title track. So there's that. And it is kind of a bummer. Executive meddling at work. But if nothing else, it did facilitate a couple of really cool songs off of that mini album. And I think overall, the mini album is actually pretty good. And Shake That Brass isn't a bad song. It's just it's kind of conventional. It's just SM artist number 4.
No, here it is. It's meh. It's not bad. It's not great. It's meh. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Like that's the only feeling it gave me. Like I was more excited about it leading up to it because I was excited to hear stuff from Amber. But once you come off of that high, you're like, oh, okay. Meh.
Yeah. Yeah. It basically sums it up. Again, go check out the Yellow Slugs review. He brings up a lot of the points that we said, but he brings it up really well. He comes up with a lot of the how it works musically and kind of breaks it down really well. And I definitely agree with his thoughts on it overall. But that aside, we're talking about, speaking of SM solo debuts. What music is new for you this week?
I gotta bring the dog back up. Okay. So for me, this week is a couple of tracks. This one is by Niall.
Neil.
Featuring our boy, Doki. I want to say Niall, though. I so want to say Niall.
It's Neil. From your boys at, well, no, I got it wrong. This is not SM. Sorry. This is new from Team Top.
Yeah. Which we've been hearing a lot about Teen Top artists doing some solo stuff, and this is kind of one of the first ones we're going to hear, and it's pretty good. I think the Doki part, which is really at the tail end, is kind of unnecessary. Yeah. I like it, but like it's just
Doki stuff.
It's a little forced.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said.
But other than that, I really like the song. I think it's a fun kind of little love ballad, which is why I'm saying, like, kind of the Doki part feels unnecessary. Like, it kind of goes through this whole thing, and it's a really fun little, like, heartbroken love ballady song. And then you just kind of get to the rap part, which just seems kind of placed to fit the standard K-pop thing.
And it's kind of how it works. Neil, his lips are still weird, but he dances well and he sings really good. He was on a recent episode of Immortal Songs, and he performed really well on that one and had a really cool, like, fun performance on that show. But yeah, cool track from Neil, Team Top representing. But yeah, speaking of Doki, here's a song.
Yeah. So this is something a little. Now, I know you think this is ridiculous, but I think it's just kind of fun ratchetry from Doki, which is what we've come to know from people like Doki and Jay Park. And this is a song that I've heard before, and they kind of made a video for it, but it is they kind of made a video for it.
Yeah.
Which is just like, it's like a video of, like, really thrown together images.
Of, like,
but other than that, I think it is definitely a fun, like, in the car, turn it all the way up song.
Yeah.
Like, you just kind of, you're in the car with your friends, and you're like, I'm gonna turn this shit up. And you just turn it all the way up, and you're just like, and then after you're like, why did we do that?
Why did we do that? Like, that is like, We'll confess. Oh, I don't think we need to confess. I think at this point, if you're a frequenter of the show, you'll probably understand that both Kaz, I, as well as our mutual friend Drew, have a kind of underlying affection for really dumb rap, really dumb ratchety rap, like ratchetatious rap, like Doki. And Doki is but his thing is bringing all like the dumbest, most ridiculous aspects of American hip hop and making it Korean, and it just kind of ends up being this like, somebody around? Like you just enjoy it for the sake of enjoying it, for being ridiculousness. But yeah, Doki. Doki being Doki. But yeah, well, what else do you got for us, Kaz?
I'm sorry, I started jamming out. Motherfucker, I'm ballin'. Okay. So the other thing from another person who is known to partake in some ratchetry, good or bad, is Ziaiko.
Ziaiko or Zico.
Now we're kind of in this period of Ziaiko doing some solo work. So we got Tough Cookie, right?
Yeah.
And we had our feelings about Tough Cookie.
Yes.
And now we got this song, Well Done, featuring J Mez. So much better. Such a better showing of Zico.
Yeah, it's like so much better. So much of what we want from Zico. And so much more personal and so much more real. Like, hey, when you sit down in the studio and actually tap into who you are as a person, sometimes that helps you musically. And it comes out as a better piece of material in the long run. But yeah,
and I mean, we have beat this sentiment to death. Ziaiko's a really, really good rapper. He just, like you said with Doki, he has these trappings of getting caught up in the style that he likes from American rap.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially in his solo stuff.
Yeah.
When he does stuff with Block B, he brings kind of the best parts of that. And it kind of shows a little differently because he can't stretch out being super ratchet,
Yeah.
Like he can't stretch out being super ratchet in Block B. But in his solo stuff, he's given that chance to stretch out this ratchetry that he kind of likes, to appeal to that appeals to him.
Yeah.
But when he kind of does his own little thing and kind of sticks to like kind of this more hip hop style and trying to speak from the heart, he shows really, really well and really exceptionally.
Yeah. And it's like, if like, how we kind of got upset over Tough Cookie, but we don't ever get upset over Doki's ratchetry. It breaks down to the fact that we know Zico is a good rapper. He doesn't need to do the try hard stuff. With Doki, we know he is a shitty rapper and this is his thing. And we just learned to accept that he's kind of hilarious and fun. We don't expect more from Doki. We know what we're going to get from Doki. But Zico, we know he can do so much better.
I put Doki in that area where you put people like 50 Cent. They can make songs that you enjoy, but a lot of the other shit they do, you're like, all right, you're being ghetto just to be ghetto, Yeah. Like 50 Cent can make really exceptional songs, but he's ghetto to be ghetto,
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what it is. But he still makes shit you can enjoy. Doki makes shit you can enjoy and kind of bump out to. But then you have somebody like, maybe like a kind of early Kanye West, where you're like, has a lot of talent, has a lot of growth, but could really easily get caught up in stupidity and get caught up in their own talent, right? And that's what happened with Kanye. Really talented, but got caught up in the the ideal of his own talent and got caught up in what his own talent could be. And Ziaiko is in that same place where Zoki. Oh god,
they did the fusion dance, Dragon Ball Z fusion dance.
Oh, that's disturbing. But Ziaiko is really talented, and in this solo stuff, he could show a lot of talent, or he could get caught up in the trappings of his own talent and what he likes in music, and it could just be really silly and come off bad, but everybody's still going to buy it, so it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's one of those things where it's like, but, you know, Zico, we still love him. But yeah. No, this was really well done. This was a fun fucking song. I want more of that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go quickly through the ones that I picked. The main thing that's caught my attention, the main thing that I was anticipating this week, is Love Exterio's EP release this week. They came out with their EP finally, their newest EP, We Love, We Leave. Now, if you have been following Love Exterio, you'll notice the one main thing about this is that it has a lot of songs that they've released before. Several songs that they've released before, including 2 new songs. So it has 2 new songs and songs from previous EPs. Now, the thing about that is, this is 2 new songs and then newly rearranged, newly mixed, newly recorded versions of those old songs, and they sound completely different. So this is something that I had to have a conversation with our friend Patrick Swagger, my co-host on Record Breakers. Like, I had to let him know, no, they actually is completely new. They're not entirely new songs, but they're newer rearrangements. They're really new mixes. They're really well made.
Well, it's kind of the same thing Gaok did, where he released that album and it was filled with a lot of songs that we have heard before, but it was just songs that he had been working on over the years, and you kind of get these. I mean, some of them were the same arrangement, but some of them were slightly rearranged, you know. But you're finally getting this collection of music, yeah.
You get the final, or at least close to final form of these songs. Like, all right, this is what we've been doing. Okay. Now let's put it together, put a couple of new things, put these songs, let's finally get, okay, this is how we definitely want this song to sound. This is the final form. And then, all right, this is who we are. This is Love Exterio. Representation of everything we've been and everything we are now. And it comes out really good. I completely dig it. They had a great, release party. I'll go ahead and play something from the release party. But the new songs, We Love, We Leave, and My Everything, are really good. Their old songs are fantastic. I can't say enough about how much I love Exterio. They are legitimately my favorite group out of Korea. They're the group that has connected with me the most out of anything. I love being, crazy about, being kind of fun and silly about K-pop and all that. And I love, checking that out as a genre. But musically, this is what connected me with most. And this is just more of that. It makes me want to see them live. And I'm going to try to see if I can figure out how to order that CD, get that physical copy. Because I'm part of the fandom. And when you're part of the fandom, you get that physical copy. The physical's for fandom. And I'm going to start working on my fan chants. and then Annie will slap me. It's like, this ain't K-pop. Stop it. And it'll be fun. But yeah, Love Exterio. Go check it out. New Love Exterio. But moving on to another release. A couple other releases. One which was an interesting group that we talked about before. One of our random finds at a K-pop booth. An album that we got, physically and checked out. I think an album that I'm gonna say we liked. Yeah, album that we liked. Yeah, because I was thinking there was the other group that we were kind of on, and that was B2B.
we liked it. We liked it overall. Yeah. We I think we enjoyed it. I mean, I have the copy here with me.
It was we were pretty impressed by
it.
how well it was made, and it was a cool song. And then now they come up with their new song, "To Vary So Much."
Yeah,
"To Vary So Much."
yeah, To Vary So Much.
And it's actually a really fun song. It's a fun it's that style of, I think that we saw previously with the album that we talked about. But it's fun. Like it's a fun boy band track, and the video is fun. It has a good personality to it. It's funny. Like, it's just your classic fun song, funny video combo. And overall pretty good. What did you think of this new My Name release?
Besides the title being ridiculous,
Yes.
I enjoyed it. I liked it. I mean, you could have stopped at so very much. You could have stopped at too much. You could have did very too much. But too very so much. Okay. But other than that, man, I enjoyed it. I think My Name is one of those middle groups that you really enjoy hearing. You might pick up an album from them every now and again, but they may not be your number one.
Yeah, but when you see that they're doing something, you go, "Oh yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
Let me go check this out." Yeah, this is a good quality release. All right, so going to another track that it just came out of nowhere, and I saw teasers for it. So there were teasers for a possible track from Lizzie and Park Myeong-su. And it was to be called Goodbye PMS. And I saw these teasers and I was like, Goodbye PMS. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. It's probably just about Goodbye PMS. It could be about that. I'll see what it's about. Then it got released. And yeah, it's about saying goodbye to premenstrual syndrome. Like, Park Myeong-su plays the personification of PMS. And this video is amazing. This song is super fun. It is like a quintessential J-rock song, and the video is awesome. Let me just sum it up on this. It ends, spoiler, it culminates with a battle between a large Park Myeong-su and a Godzilla versus Mothra sized battle between Park Myeong-su and Lizzie, where Lizzie uses pills of prefemin to bring him down and defeat Park Myeong-su. Aside, that's how it goes. One of the first things you see is Lizzie in a bitches ain't shit sweater. That alone makes this video the best thing in the world. She's literally wearing a shirt with an Instagram picture with the caption, "Bitches ain't shit," a sweater. It's like, that alone. And then the song is amazing. What did you think, Cass?
I thought it was like, as soon as I saw that opening, like you said, Godzilla Mothra giant battle fucking, thing, I was just like, okay, I think I'm in. And then, fucking Park Min-soo rolling up in his PMS van, and I was just like, all right, I'm in. Yeah, let's do this. And like you said, it's just fucking fun. It's just so fucking fun. Like, there's no way around it. It's just fucking fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And apparently, according to, and I wouldn't know, just biologically speaking, but according to every female K-pop fan that has watched this, it's pretty accurate to the experience of having PMS, which I can see why. And I'm glad we had this anthem. Ladies, take this as your anthem, your your solidarity anthem, in dealing with PMS.
I turned the video back on. I fucking love the part of him just stuffing food in her mouth.
Yeah. It's like, you have these cravings. And it's like, all right, it's time for black bean noodles. It's time for cake. Time for cookies. Time for more soda. Like, It's just kind of hilarious. And then, the moment of Lizzie catching the beam and shooting it right back at him. Like, he catches the pills and he's like, It's like, it is so amazing. Like, and it's shot so well, like the production value of like that shot of that like rolling by shot, that shaky cam, like it's like freaking that one movie that was shitty that did the shaky cam about some Godzilla movie. What the hell was that? It was like I don't remember. It was like that Cloverfield. Yeah, that shitty movie. It's like Cloverfield and shit. Like, the production value. I have to wonder, and I have to. There's nothing to say what it is or how it came to be. I'm wondering if it actually is a like CF for pre-femin, like because you can see that you see a nice shot of the box, and right there with the logo, and there's Park Myeong-su blasting off again.
It could be much like that swings. Oh goddamn! Why am I blanking on this person's name? The swings and oh my god, a UJ Salk song for the chicken place. Yeah. Like, you make this really awesome song that's basically just a commercial for your chicken place.
Yeah.
So, like, at this point, I don't put it past them, and I want more shit like this. Like, you take a really fun music artist and a awesome comedian, put them together to sell shit. I want some of that chicken, and I'll buy this no femin stuff. Like, sell it to me.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't have any symptoms, but fuck it, I'll buy it.
No, I don't need it.
Give me like 10 boxes. I'm buying like 10 boxes. Hooking up some of my lady friends with them. And at this point, I can't understand how anybody cannot love Lizzie. It almost feels like not loving Lizzie is like not liking puppies or happiness. It's just, she is the best. Like, she is the most hilarious. She puts out so many fun songs. Like, it's just, she's so fantastic. We can't say enough about it. Lizzie is fantastic. Like, she's so hilarious. And I'm still, like, I still jam to Not an Easy Girl. Like, I'll, like in the morning, I'll, like, like, I need you. I had to, like, pull it up on YouTube on my phone and listen to it, because you can do the background listening, but I will do that. I will pull it up, like, I have to do it for a minute, and I will jam to freaking Lizzie's You're Not an Easy Girl. But yeah, gotta love Lizzie. Alright, so that's it for what's new with us music-wise. We're gonna go quickly into some quick headlines. We've got a big Hallyujuku Talks segment to get to, but we're gonna hit up some quick headlines before then, so let's head on over there. Howdy, folks, and welcome to our headlines. We're going to go through some quick topical topics and talk about some discussions and things like that. Some headlines. Let's get down to it. First headline. Memorial Clover Z did blackface with Rats and Star for Music Fair. That pretty much sums it up now, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was, and that's exactly what it is. The image that you have in your head right now, hold on to it, lock it, and then look back at the screen when Petey shows this. Yep, that's pretty much what you were thinking. Yeah.
So Memorial Clover Z collaborated with a group called Rats and Star for Music Fair, and they tweeted out the above picture because, hey, why not? It was done because Rats and Star is a group that has been around for a while that do doo-wop music. Which is, all well and good, do doo-wop music. But their main thing is that they're so into the music that they paint their face black to perform it. it's almost like retreading old ground, and it almost feels like there's no point in talking about it, but let's talk about it. Who is not stepping up to say, hey, that's no.
Don't bring up a serious conversation and then bring up that. I think it is the thing that we talk about, kind of the constant xenophobic thing that kind of goes on in Japan, where and kind of the misknowledge of what's right and what's wrong, because you just look at things for the entertainment sake and kind of nothing else. So I feel like this was looked at for nothing more than like, oh, it's like an homage where you kind of miss the point, like, because you're never really part of everything else. You're never really directly part of the racism of what this thing was, so for you, it just seems, when you're very outside of it, it just seems like a thing that was,
Yeah.
But it's even for me, right? Like, the person who gives no fucks about a lot of things, even for me, I'm kind of like, that's a bad move.
Yeah.
Like,
and what's sad, so I brought up the Asian Junkie article because, it's Asian Junkie, and that's where I first saw it. But there was also a kind of a good write-up on Rocket News 24, overall about the group Rats and Star, because, most of the reaction, they kind of written off Momoclo's involvement in this, kind of, which is for the better, because, you don't really want to put too much stock in an idol group's independent thought and decision making process. But, it's just a thing that, because really at the root is Rats and Star, because the fact that Rats and Star is an accepted thing makes it, by extension, makes it so that Momoclo accepts it, that it's an accepted thing. But so they do a good write-up, because this group has been around for a while. They've been around for at least for the past 35 years. Or at least what, at some point in the past. Yeah. 35 years. They've been doing this for 35 years. This exact thing. And they have at no point gotten around to finding out that it's a bad thing. Which only goes to show, so whenever something like this happens, the always like the defense is, well, they're not part of that history, so they don't know, they don't have an experience, they don't know that history, and like, it just comes off of people saying they don't know any better, and I'm like, you're insulting them. Like, I do not ascribe to that defense, because that's insulting to them. They should know better. I'm going to expect them to know better, because we live in a digital age. Like, especially now, we live in a digital age where all of the world's information is at your fingertips. Like, all the world's knowledge and all the world's history is at your fingertips. So, at some point, you learn and you figure out, and somebody at least tells you that putting, shoe polish on your face to try to resemble an African American person, or, a black person, to resemble black people, is not a good thing. It's quite a bad thing. It's not a cute thing. It's not a funny thing. Well, it's kind of a funny thing, but it's in the way that it's kind of bad. But it's not a cute thing. It's not it's not a harmless entertainment thing. It's something that's steeped into a painful history of marginalization, dehumanization. It's something where I get, it's something where I had issues and I got mad at Gag Concert, because they still, every once in a while, sometimes, like, there was a dude showing up as Dennis Rodman. Like, because they wanted to do the Kim Jong-un joke. Brought Kim Jong-un, which is fine. They brought out Kim Jong-un to be Kim Jong-un, and they brought out a guy being Dennis Rodman, which I understand the joke. Bring out Kim Jong-un, we bring out Dennis Rodman because they're buddies now apparently. But they brought out one of the Korean comedians in blackface, and I'm like, you could not not that he looks anything like it, but at the very least, get Sam, get that Sam Motsuri, the guy that's on like the Ghana and the dude from Ghana that's like on all the variety shows now. Get that guy.
Yeah,
he'll be on your show. Like, he looks nothing like Dennis Rodman, but at least he's black. Like, you don't have to invoke such a historically sensitive thing when you could just as easily call somebody who's well connected in the entertainment business now and would be able to deliver the lines, is fluent in Korean, and would be able to do it just fine. Like, it's not like you don't have somebody that you can call that can deliver the lines. So it's like, it's one of those things where you talk about, like, they don't know any better. Like, we don't have a direct, we obviously as Americans we had some involvement, but we don't have that direct feeling of what the Imperial Japan did to Korea.
Yeah.
But when the one dude at the Royals game that showed up, because there's the one Japanese guy, and tried to root for the Japanese guy by rolling out a big old Imperial Japanese flag, and a longtime Korean fan, Lee Sung-woo, who's a big popular guy on Reddit now, is a big time Royals fan. He pointed out, it's like, hey, that's not cool. That kind of paints, invokes a painful history for us Koreans, and I'm sure the Japanese player wouldn't appreciate that. All of us were like, yeah, we agree. Like, what's going on? Like, we knew that history. We didn't feel a personal connection to it, but we knew. We got ourselves, knowledge, and we rallied behind that idea, and we all got behind that lesson. We knew better. But I don't know. I think this could be, that Japan has a lot of problems. And this could be, beating a dead horse, but I just want to go back to that. They don't know better. Not a good argument.
It's never going to be a good argument. It never is a good argument. There's never anything that's going to hold that argument together. Ever.
Yeah. No. But yeah, speaking
it just comes off terrible. Like, there's just no way to save face for that, but at the same time, they're never going to get in trouble for it. So,
but going from some Japanese doing terrible things to some Japanese doing awesome things, Tokyo's Shibuya ward to offer marriage certificates to same-sex couples. Good news today for supporters of same-sex marriage in Japan. Tokyo's Shibuya ward, is moving towards administering marriage certificates for same-sex couples. If the proposed plan is enacted, it will take effect on April 1st this year. Hey, April Fool's Day. Making Shibuya the first ward in Japan to recognize same-sex marriage. This is actually pretty cool. Like, it goes through some of the kind of the words from the mayor, Kuwahara. He says that, we want to accept each other's differences and build a diverse society. And this is kind of his thing. And this is cool. Like, this, as much as kind of like there's a lot of like odd cross-dressing and fun, personality that we see on the superficial aspects of Japan, the LGBT community is not that welcome there. No. But this is a nice sign of progress. What do you think, Kaz?
No, I'm really kind of like, so anytime acceptance happens in the world, period, I'm happy about it. I feel like it's more of a progression. It's more of an understanding of other people and who they are, and less of treating people like you're not like me, so you're not normal, and treating people like you're different from me, but you're still a person, you know? Like, and if we can just get to that level in a majority of the world, that would be a fucking amazing thing.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't always, I don't feel like there needs to be this total acceptance. I've never felt that way, right? And this kind of gets me in the ire of those people in those communities to be like, how dare you say that they should accept us 100%? No, fuck that. They're not going to. But if it can come to an understanding where people will go, you're different, but you're a fucking human being, and I should treat you as such. I should treat you as another human being. Then aces. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there are always going to be things that I disagree with that are fucking normal for some people, but I'm never going to not treat them like a human being.
Yeah.
And there's this great series of Vice videos from the Japanese side of Vice of a photographer doing these photo shoots with gay and lesbian couples in Japan. You know, and that's like awesome.
Yeah. And it's really cool. Like, and again, the you know, the marriage equality thing is like, why it matters is there's a lot of legal stuff that involved, a lot of medical stuff that's involved with being married, and you know, for all intents and purposes, it's a really important thing to possibly have, but but yeah, it's really cool to kind of see progress happen, especially in Japan. So good job. Go Mayor Kuwahara, you rock. And you're an adorable little old man, and you're awesome. But yeah, that's it for some headlines. We're going to go dive right into this Hallyujuku Talk segment. It's a nice meaty one, so there's no need to delay it, so bam!
So, welcome to another edition of Hallyujuku Talks. On this episode, we're going to be talking about No Mercy's final lineup, I guess, final episode, final lineup, and our thoughts overall on how everything went down. Yeah,
final episode. Yeah, we're talking about the final episode. So a couple things. Let's first talk about the final episode itself. They kind of, it was the mission to decide the final 7 members. And for the mission, they did, almost kind of 2 blocks. They did 3 sets of 3-person unit performances. So it was like 3 on 3 on 3. And then the block, the second block, block B, if you will, was all of the 9 in a group performing together.
A final group performance, or just that to show what they look like all together, kind of thing. To give this, because it was supposed to come down to, and I say supposed to, come down to a 50% audience vote and a 50% judge vote of who your final.
We'll talk about how the math really makes that basically the audience decides how that works. So we'll talk in a second.
Let's talk about how that's bullshit, though. But so that's what it was supposed to be. So you get to see the 3 members put together, 3 members put together, 3 members put together of that final 9. Then you get to see all 9 perform together. I want to say there was not a weak performance in there at all. I generally enjoyed everyone's performance. Everybody showed a lot of upskill. and you know what? All right, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna start to lead into a bigger thing, but I'll leave it. There are some people who kind of were always in the background and continued to be in the background even when they were added in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
And really didn't show a lot to me, but whatever. Other than that, I think everybody really, really showed a lot of skill, really, really showed a lot of growth from when you see them in the first episode to now in the last episode. So
they put together some really cool songs, and like Juhan's group put together a really cool song with like with Interstellar. The song, like,
yeah,
that was like a really cool like performance.
I thought that one was really good. Giovanni did really, really exceptional again, which is why he was ranked number one.
Which is always why he's always ranked number one. And then like I think if you could pick out any of that were like the quote unquote weak one, you would maybe say the group with Shotgun in it, because and what they talked about, it was, and that wasn't even, you wouldn't even say it was the group's fault. It was just the composer, how he made their arrangement, their ending, like they said, was a little like it just kind of ended. But even that performance was really cool. Despite the fact that I spent a good chunk of it going, where's Shotgun?
Right. you did spend a good. I think of all the Jay Park songs that they could have picked, I don't think that was the one to pick. I like So Good.
Yeah, Joa, yeah.
But there's ones where there's a better mix of rap and singing in a Jay Park song that could have been picked. But I still liked the arrangement of it because I was in my head, I was like, So Good? Like, where is the rap gonna fit into that, you know? Like, thinking about So Good, but they did really well. They did really well to fit the rapper into that song. And they, you can
almost say, like, I think they picked a song that was 2/3 singing and like a third raps. Like, they wanted to focus, try to let it evenly distribute, which which is understandable. And then Shotgun performed well, and again, coming a long way dance wise, I think. Definitely. And then the whole group performance was really fun. The song was really cool. The way they kind of structured the choreography was really cool. The way they featured Shotgun in the central role of like the almost like that one part in 2 p.m. song where they're riding the motorcycle, kind of using that thing. But they did it really well. And I think it was paced well, and it featured everybody really well. And it was real cool. A chock full of fun performances. I think you can't really say any of them were really weak. And it was a fun last episode. Luckily, not a lot of filler, which I think I'm glad. Of course, it's the finale. You're not going to have any filler. You're just going to go just full on and finish strong, blow your load, if you will. And then in the end, the final 7 were chosen. The two that were not chosen were Shotgun and Soa, I believe. Shotgun and Sokwon. Now, I'll let you start. What were your thoughts on the final 7 as a group and the exclusion of Shotgun and Sokwon?
All right, so I'll start on this end. There were at least 4 people that I knew were going to be in this group. That being Juani. I knew he was going to be in. There's pretty much no way he wasn't.
He was number one. He was the number one of everything. Yeah, Juhan, Shonu. Yeah.
Yeah. He was iffy in the beginning. Like, you knew he was the best performer.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Bless you.
But he had a lot of weaknesses.
Yeah.
To overcome, which he knew about, and he did, right? Kiwon, who's another vocalist,
Kihyun?
right?
Yeah.
Really, really great vocalist. I liked him kind of from the start. Those were like 3 lock-ins, you know? They were definitely kind of always going to be in.
One definite lock-in on every hashtag everything is a work level was I am. We're gonna talk.
Well, all right. That's that. All right. So, let's talk about that. Right. Let's go ahead and do that. Right. So you had this ad of I am, right, and I am kind of was. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you try to put it, no matter what spin you want to put on it, I am was placed as this fucking just this work. Like he was just put in like, hey, you know what? Spot. Like there is some fucking real backside shit that went into that in my mind now. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to get into it so hard, but it is so fucking sell. You know what I'm saying? Like this kid was sold. He was put in there. He was fucking like even in the mission that they came up into, it was like he was given this the like kind of best part of that rap in there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter what part you give Johnny, he's gonna fucking outshine you because he's just a really good rapper. Yeah. But I feel like they became this focus, like, let's focus on the rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's this kid? We don't know. Let's give him a big fucking part. What? No, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just kind of ever more encroachingly became this thing where, like, the last couple missions, like, you could put it to luck, you could put it to whatever. Fuck that bullshit. Every team he was on won, you know? Yeah. Like, so there was no chance of him ever being in danger where it could be this thing where it's like, well, he's the new kid and you know what? He didn't really shine. Get out of here. No, every time he was fucking safe. You know, like there is never a position in which he was not safe.
Yeah.
And that was kind of bullshit. And then it became the middle of the show where I felt like as much as I like Shotgun, I really like Shotgun.
Yeah.
He stands out way more than anybody else on a personality level, which could have been his downfall.
Yeah. He's definitely an individual. I think it's right. Hard. I kind of want. Okay, so I had an initial reaction. So I got spoiled on the final lineup and saw that Shotgun wasn't on it. And I even told you that I basically did the Seinfeld thing of like, nope, I'm out. Like, I don't care anymore.
No, I saw an all K-pop article. Like, I every so often when I pay attention to Twitter, there always is some for some reason an all K-pop article that shows something that I wanted to look at. So like, it was like, oh, the final lineup's been revealed and Shotgun's not in it. You know, and I mean, I feel like this was a kind of like this is one of those times that. From the American side, right? It was this real collective of what the fuck, you know, like especially from a lot of the media outlets that we use to cover all the things that happen in Korea and all this stuff, where everybody felt like a kind of collective what the fuck. Even in this article from Cult Scene that you added in our doc, right? Yeah. They talk about the fact that they feel like there was a work, like you said. They're like fucking Shotgun got worked. Shotgun and to a certain extent, the other rapper got kind of worked in this.
You know, yeah. I was okay. So I will say that was my initial reaction. Then I thought about it, and I looked at the this article, and I looked at a couple of things, and I kind of molded over my head. The question of like, is this real or is it fake? I'm like, there's no question. Of course, it's fake. Let's just accept that.
No,
it's a work, but I kind of it was going over my head. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm a wrestling fan or whatever. It's a work. I'm just going to talk about the booking. How did they book this show? How did they book this show to lead into their final, their lineup that they wanted? how they book it so that they showcase the people that they wanted. And did they book the wrong guy? Or, my guy was supposed to be booked more, pushed better. Going through my, wrestling fan mentality. But then I realized I was still trying to reason out and trying to reason out the idea that it was a work just in a different way. I had to kind of look at this article and realize on a book from a simple, booking the guys that you want to be your group to win level, I kind of understand how it ended up being the way it is. So this article shows kind of how, the mentality over it. So we go over I Am over Shotgun. Shotgun, we love Shotgun just because of his personality and his individuality. But, like I said, it could have been his downfall in this sense that I Am was the one that fits the most as the second rapper in an idol group. Because what you needed was the second rapper. Because you have your first rapper. You have Juhan. He's your focal point. Like he's your cornerstone. He's the number one guy. He was the number one guy. He's the best rapper. He's one of the better dancers. And overall great performer. And then you had to think, okay, who's going to be our second rapper? This all outright individual who, though has grown, isn't the best dancer. And the best fitting in another group, or this guy that we have that's a trainee. So they kind of brought him in to kind of like, all right, we kind of need to push Shotgun. We need a different rapper in there that fits better with the final group that we want to book as the winners. Which makes sense. It hurts for the guy that we like it, but it makes sense. And then
it only makes sense if Shotgun wanted to be number one, which, okay, yeah, Shotgun does kind of want to be number one. Shotgun does kind of challenge your kind of format in a sense, because he has a lot of personality and he shines really well. But I think it always comes back to that thing that we initially said in the beginning. And I think this kind of sometimes ends up being the downfall in certain K-pop things, right? Yeah. Where you pick the guys who fit your mentality well better than the guys who fit well. You know what I'm saying? Because you take the guys who fit well, fucking Shotgun, and like you think overall, like we said, you can make a subunit out of Shotgun and Juan, right? You can make. There's so like even that three man thing showed so much potential for sub group stuff, right? Using two of the rappers and one of the singers, kind of all this stuff or whatever. And I think it also, a lot of the times in the overall production of it, Shotgun and Juani ended up on two separate teams because I think in the production mindset, they saw them both as two top rappers instead of one of them as a top, one of them as a secondary, right? They never really got a chance to group together more than the time where they, where it was the two of them together, but at the same time they're competing, right? Yeah. And even then they fucking killed it with that song that they did. Yeah. But it always comes back to that thing, like you said, where Shotgun shows a lot of personality. So it kind of comes off that he wants to be number one and that he might not fit into that perfect little meld of K-popdom that you have, where you want kind of one guy to be on top. Where, because like most likely the two front guys in this are going to be Shwani and Juwon, right?
Those Juwon and Shanu are going to be the vocal guys. Are like your cornerstones. Kihyun's gonna be your main vocalist. He's gonna be the guy that gets those high notes, gets those solos. And by solos I mean in the song. And Shonu's gonna be the core performer, and then everybody kind of plays different roles. And then you kind of go into, and I definitely see what you're saying. I'm going back and forth. You go into the other guy, Seokwan, who is, by all accounts, one of the better vocalists, that were there. So they chose Hyung, basically it breaks down to, it was Hyungwon, and Minhyuk over Seokwan. And what I think it's illustrated great in this article that they basically broke down. It was the visual and the mood maker over the extra vocalist. Because Seokwon would have been the extra vocalist in the group, whereas somebody like Kyungwon and Minhyuk, they had a different role that they could own themselves. Where, Hyungwon is the visual, for all intents and purposes, I guess. I guess the chicks like him. I don't. He's not my cup of tea, but the chicks dig him. Minhyuk was the kind of the funny mood maker kind of a personality that, and specifically being the kind of the cute, fun personality guy. He's going to be the guy you can bring on, you'll have Juhan and you'll have him coming on happy together, or on Hello Counselor, on the variety shows. Like, he'll be there, to accompany the person that's the most popular one, to kind of be the variety guy or be the funny guy to support him. So that's him. And of course the visual. So, as much as you say like Seokwon was the most was one of the more talented of like those three, he didn't fit a role that was needed, which I definitely understand. I kind of have I've come to accept. I've come to accept.
Right, and but see, here's where I start to get disheartened, right? Because it starts to get to a point where you talk about this and you listen to the things that we're saying, and we're saying, well, they picked that guy even though he wasn't the most talent, and you go like, we're at a loss of talent over radio or TV, like, and then, right. Okay. So I'm the guy who does it every time, and I'm going to do it again, right? I'm going to bring up somebody like Big Bang, right? Yeah. You take Big Bang's conception, and initially it's set up as, GD's your main guy. Taeyong is your main vocalist. Sungri is your backup vocal, right? Kind of backup vocal visual. D-Light is kind of the mood setter kind of person, right? And then you have Top, who's your backup, who's your secondary rapper, right? And in their inception, they did that, right? But you take a lot of that learned individuality, Top stands out as an amazing rapper, right? And was allowed to be able to do that, right? Like, Is there going to be chances and times where IM stands out? Yeah, okay, that it's going to happen, right? He has a really cool voice. His rap is kind of, I'm sorry, but to me, his rap is kind of standard and boring.
Yeah.
But that's what they want, and that's cool over somebody like Shotgun who can stand out as a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like those first and here's my like working of it, right? Kind of the conspiracy theory, right? Shotgun really stood out in the beginning, right? Like he came out and he showed a lot of power and a lot of individuality. And then I think as it went, like he claims throughout the show, oh, I'm gaining confidence as I go, like I was weak when I started and I'm gaining confidence as I go. But what I think happened is they chipped away at a lot of his individuality and a lot of his style to try to make him fit. And it came to a point where it wasn't going to work. And then, you throw in this other guy and he's locked to win or whatever. Like, we don't worry. It's not a worry anymore. And I feel like Shotgun got smaller and smaller as those last few episodes go on. And he didn't start to stand out in his raps as much because he was trying to fit into this box, which then just made him like not look as good,
Yeah.
Like I loved that initial individuality. I loved that mix that he had in the beginning with the group when they kind of show them perform. I love the mix that he has with Joanne, but that's all the things that I loved about it, and like you said, those aren't the things that they wanted. That's not what they were looking for. They were looking for the standard boy group,
Yeah, I think we almost there's a comic that I'm showing that you almost kind of could say about the two rappers, I.M. and Shotgun, where you see, as you can see, obviously, you have the one guy on the left. He's killing it. He's like, Neil Peart reincarnated. I hopefully I got the right Rush member. Don't kill me. And he goes, "You're amazing." You got the other guy on the left. Boom, bap, boom, boom, bap. You're hired. You're amazing. You're hired. And honestly, it's kind of an old, musician joke. But it can almost apply to this situation. Shotgun is the guy on the left who's got all the talent in the world and can really shine as an individual. I Am is the guy on the right who can hit the beat and do what the writer wants him to do. who can do what Giddy Boy wants him to do. Who can do what who can do what Shin Sedong Tiger, or I don't know, who can do whatever the producer wants the song to be. And that's kind of almost what it comes down to. And we talked about the 50%. Mathematically speaking, they actually, I do believe that they actually did it that way. Because if you look at it mathematically speaking, 8 people counted the same as a giant group of those people. Like, I don't know how many people, it was like 100 or so people. If you look at it mathematically, let's say there were 80 people out there. Each judge counted for 10 people there. And if you break it down, and if you assume how the votes broke down, because they all picked 7 people, you can almost say that they were all pretty popular. You can almost say that pretty much at least a few basically had the equivalent of 1 vote, and the judges got to be able to pick which guy to put their second vote to. Here, you have 1 vote. Here's your second vote. Like, here's your second vote to put you up into the top 7. Here's your actual vote. So it was exactly as they put forward, but it wasn't. But it was set up exactly how they could basically decide what they wanted to do and still involve the audience, basically. Have a more complex.
Because I mean, come on, right? Like, if you're gonna involve the audience and you're gonna tell me that audience and that group of people picked I Am over Shotgun,
yeah, no, a slight majority picked a good majority picked Shotgun, but they put in the votes to I Am and got him. And basically, like I said, mathematically speaking, they was all in the up and up. It's just that the math basically weighed everything towards the judges. The house wins. So it was in the end, hashtag everything is work. That's fine. I'm of the mindset that that's fine. And I'm still not necessarily happy with the booking decisions. Let's just go ahead and call it the booking decisions of the show, but I see where they're coming from. I will say that I definitely agree with everything you have to say about still having those individuals. I still love Shotgun. I still would prefer him in this group, in the end. But I'm not saying I agree with it, but I see where they're coming from. It's like, I'm not saying, OJ Simpson should have done it, but I understand.
I don't know. I think for me, it just seems kind of disheartening to go that route with somebody as good as Shotgun and then not use him. Yeah. But there's a lot of this article also brings up, he could very much do solo stuff. He has the range. He could do solo stuff. Yeah. You could also possibly do a who is next situation where, you have winner debut and then you reroute and come out with Icon,
Yeah.
and kind of use some of the other trainees. Now, here's my thing with that. I don't really see, like,
You don't have as strong of a team B as you had with Who's Next. I think
right.
I think Shotgun, his blessing could be the freedom of not having the group. As much as I think this group, overall, I think this group is going to be a really good group. I look forward to seeing their first debut release, and it's going to be interesting. Just because I think there's probably going to have some really good quality people behind it, at the reins of making the music and stuff. I think Shotgun, he could take the silver lining of having the freedom to kind of maybe possibly go solo, or maybe go to brand new music, Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
so
the Outsiders.
We were talking about this before we started recording. There's a great little moment in that final episode where he's like, hey, there's a lot of good talent on that stage. And it's sad to see that somebody's going to get eliminated. And just, if you do get eliminated, come over to brand new music.
Come over to brand new music.
He just Suge Knighted the whole thing, and I loved it. And I think fucking Shotgun should take him up on that offer and go over to brand new music.
Yeah. I mean, they need somebody to replace Bumpkey,
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
No.
But yeah, I think.
I mean,
all right. So, well, that's our. I think we pretty much kind of went through all of our thoughts. Now, Monsta X is the name of the group that's going to be debuting. Now, divorcing, forgetting that Shotgun exists and Sucklin exists, just looking at this group and the name, how do you see the makeup? Just forgetting that anybody else exists, just looking at this group, how do you see the makeup, and what do you think of this group as it stands now?
So as I see the makeup of this group and just kind of knowing the personalities, I feel like it's gonna kind of be standard fare. I think it's gonna be really more akin to earlier 2 p.m. style stuff. They're going to do newer style stuff, but I think it's going to be more akin to earlier 2 p.m. style stuff where even though you have two rappers who could be really good, you're not going to get a lot from them because you have a lot more vocal and visual stuff that you can work with. Uh-huh. So you're going to see a lot more of that with this kind of split rap break, either in the beginning or the ends of the songs.
Yeah.
And then maybe one or two songs that are kind of a little more hip hop focused. I think it's kind of going to be more akin to that, even though a lot of it that they did seemed really hip hop and R&B throughout the show. I think in the end, they're going to kind of go with the standard fare style of fun, chippy kind of stuff, and there's going to be that little mix of hip hop R&B that they've kind of shown.
It'll be interesting because they're coming out of Starship Entertainment, and they do already have Boyfriend there, and I wonder if they're going to let Boyfriend be their standard boy band and maybe give Monsta X a little more of a different style that is more hip hop influenced and is more of middle era 2 p.m. rather than early era 2 p.m. But I think I generally see where it's probably going to be, is like you said. Overall, the group has a good balance to it. They'll be represented well in the variety shows. They'll dance well, and they'll sing well. And I think, they'll have access to really good producers. Just, a nice sort of a variety of producers. So I think music-wise, we don't really have to worry about them, but we'll have to see how they create their identity. But like I said, it's probably going to be that more standard than off-center than anything. But yeah, that was No Mercy. And those were our thoughts. That brings us to the end of another fabulous episode of Hallyujuku. Cass, What do you got going on in your neck of the woods?
Not a goddamn thing. I'm tired as fuck. I'm coming off of a convention. Coming off of, I mentioned it earlier, but I'm coming off of spending some time in the DC area at Katsucon, which was a fun convention. Took a lot of pictures, got a lot of shit to work on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Time to edit them pictures.
Edit those pictures. Also, time to finally make a goddamn Facebook page for my photography stuff, because, like, goddamn 20 people were like, do you have a Facebook page? I was like, no, I just use my Facebook. But yeah, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to do that now, I guess.
Yeah.
Until other things become standard fare. But that's about it. So it's going to be a lot of pictures. So I would say look forward to those maybe next weekend-ish. Because I'm not going to edit shit this week. Fuck that noise.
Fuck that noise. Yeah, you can find his stuff. Go just find everything on about.me/KingKaz. That'll stay constantly updated. Me, I'm Petey Rave everywhere, including at about.me/Petey Rave, Twitter. All the other places as well. The show is at Hallyujuku, right over there. Hallyujuku.com, kpoppodcast.com, rebelli.net for this and the other shows. I'm excited because it's only a month away till South by Southwest / Jurymania. We're on the road to Jurymania as well, so there's going to be a lot of fun, hectic craziness that goes on in the middle of March. So keep an eye out for all the things. You know, follow the respective Twitter accounts. It's going to be follow me on Instagram. It's going to be a fun time. But yeah, that's it. Follow the things, subscribe to the things, share the things, iTunes, Stitcher, all of that goodness. Until next time, hasta los huevos. Annyeong.
Give it to me straight, Doc.
Fighting.
Give it to me straight, Doctor. Why, I think you're crazy. Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.